The Final Four, Chapter 16, Michael Jordan, 7:48 p.m. MJ is shadowing his man on defense. Out of the corner of his eye, he checks the game clock. There's just 2:43 left to go, with Michigan State still in front by 5 points. MJ is used to watching the final minutes of a big game from the Spartans bench. He's used to seeing the backside of Coach Barker stalk the sidelines, not the front of him. And whenever his team had the lead, MJ would wish for the seconds to tick off faster. But now that MJ is on the court and contributing, he's in no hurry to push time ahead. The Trojans are running a set play, and there is heavy traffic at the top of the key. As a trio of Trojans crisscross, trying to lose their defenders behind multiple screens, MJ hears Malcolm holler, "Switch with me! Switch off!" So instead of chasing his man through the stream of bodies, MJ stays put. He picks up Malcolm's man moving towards him. Then Malcolm switches onto MJ's man, running in his direction. The defensive changes happen quick and seamlessly. "Stay there for now," Malcolm shouts. "Got it," counters MJ. And suddenly, a part of MJ feels like he's been playing side by side with Malcolm all of his life. So here we are, these two guys are finally clicking, in the third overtime of the game. And they're finally playing as like a team, dare we say. The Spartans continue to blanket the Trojans, who can't find an open shot. With the 35-second shot clock winding down on them, the Trojans try to force the action, but the Spartans strip the ball away. It's rolling loose. MJ sees it heading out of bounds off a baby bear. He sprints after the rock, diving through the air for it as he reaches the sideline. He tries to save the ball, but can't. MJ goes flying into the opposing bench with the Trojans' reserves, including a recuperating Red Bull, forced to scatter. He finds himself draped over in one of their chairs, off balance, and almost sitting down in it. Then he grasps a teammate's hand, pulls himself up, and gets back onto the court as fast as he can. So it seems like he's really hustling. He's still not doing great. He's not the greatest basketball player, but MJ tries really hard out there, and he and Malcolm are clicking there for an instant as teammates. And now we have a flashback to November, 4 months ago. After MJ and Malcolm had run 97 steps of side by side, Coach Barker gave them a little wave and a grin as he headed for the gym door. As a reminder, these two are being punished. They are roommates who got in a fight, and instead of campus police or the university really getting involved and delving out the punishment, they were taken to their coach, who had them shoot 25 free throws each, and however many they lost, they had to run a certain amount of steps, and so that's what they have been doing. So far they've run 97 sets of steps. "How many left?" Barker called to them over his shoulder. 13, answered MJ between short, panting breaths. "Well, you boys keep on climbing. I'll see you both at practice tomorrow," said Barker. "And no more fighting. Like I tell you before every game we play, be the agitator, not the retaliator. There are always penalties for retaliation." Less than a minute after Barker left, Malcolm told MJ, "I'd quit early, right here. But I know you're going to finish every last one. And I'm not about to let you say that you beat me at anything." Again, this goes back to Malcolm's character. As, what do they say? That phrase about, character is who you are when no one's watching. Well, as soon as the coach leaves, Malcolm tells MJ, "I'd quit right now. I wouldn't finish what we're supposed to run, except for the fact that I know you will," because MJ has right character. And Malcolm says, "I don't want you to ever beat me at anything. So that's the only reason why I'm going to stay and finish running." And they were supposed, remember, to be running this together. "How am I going to beat you?" asked MJ. "We're supposed to be running these steps together." "Not anymore," said Malcolm, sprinting away and leaving MJ to finish the punishment on his own. "See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya." MJ wouldn't chase after him and just kept his own steady pace. Besides, Malcolm was wearing sweatpants, while MJ had on jeans that were getting heavy with sweat and chafing at both of his knees. By the time MJ finished and got back to their dorm room, Malcolm was already stretched out on his bed watching the Cartoon Network, with an ice pack on his lower lip. "I guess you got the workout you wanted tonight," said MJ, heading straight for his laptop and a pile of books on his desk, without even changing his wet clothes. "I've still got exams to study for and a reaction paper to plan out." "I've heard that exercise opens up the studying part of your brain," said Malcolm, with any bad blood seemingly behind him. "Too bad you're busy with all of that. It would have been a good time for you to tutor me in Black history." "Yeah, that's what I want to do right now, tutor you," said MJ. What is a reaction paper anyway? Asked Malcolm, hitting the mute button on the remote. Like that's really important to you, said MJ, flipping open the laptop and pressing the power key. But if you have to know, it's a short paper, just a page or two. It's exactly what it sounds like. Your reaction to something. I'm doing one on basketball for my sociology class. So what are you complaining about? That's no work, said Malcolm. You write down how to dribble and shoot. Not that you'd really know how, especially foul shots. If you did, we wouldn't have had to run so many of those stairs. But you could ask me about it, and I'd tutor you. It's not about any of that, said MJ, still standing behind his desk. I'm going to write about how street ball is all social. Street ball is social? Mocked Malcolm. Maybe in that pansy Dearborn where you're from, where it's soft. Because with that thought in your head, I know you never played on the streets of Detroit. First of all, I didn't have it soft. I didn't even have a bloodfather around to steer me straight on man stuff. Just a stepdad who was too busy with his own kids. And street ball's street ball, no matter where you play. It's all about society. The players on the court practically create one of their own without a ref there. They make the rules, negotiate calls, choose sides. You should know that, said MJ. President Obama grew up playing street ball, and he says flat out that it helped him to develop all kinds of social skills that he uses today. Yeah, where'd he grow up playing? Asked Malcolm, getting up to pull a tray of ice from the freezer in the mini fridge. Hawaii. Are you serious? What's going to happen to him on the streets there? Was some tourist in a flowered shirt going to slap him with a pineapple? I should have known this was all about you and Obama, said Malcolm. I think you're in love with that brother, like you got some kind of man crush on him. What, I shouldn't look up to a black man who became president? Snapped MJ. Who should be my hero then? You? How about the dude you're named after? Malcolm shot back. He's the greatest baller of all. He's got megabucks and his own sneaker brand. That kind of fame's not everything. Obama's not even the greatest president ever. His face isn't carved out in stone on that mountain, and his picture's not on any money, said Malcolm, flexing the ice tray until a row of cubes popped free. I hear enough about Jordan every day with this name. I don't need to think about him any more than that. I just think you're jealous because you can't live up to his skills, said Malcolm. I think you should legally change your name to Barack Obama. And that would be easier for me? Hey, I've seen enough of your game to know you've got a better chance of becoming president than the greatest basketball player that ever lived, answered Malcolm, putting more ice cubes into the pack. I'll just keep this name. I'm used to it now. If Michael Jordan was my name, I wouldn't complain about it. You wouldn't? No, it would put everybody else's eyes on me and make me practice even harder. Not me, said MJ, finally sitting down at his desk and pulling a book from the middle of the pile. When I was 15, the cops nailed me for drinking beer on a street corner. I didn't have any ID, so when they asked my name, I tried to scramble for a fake one fast. I think Michael Jordan must have been on my brain because I had said something like Michael Jenkins or Michael Johnson, said Malcolm. Did you get away with it? Asked MJ, his eyes glued to the computer screen in front of him. Nah, they knew straight off. They made me write it down along with my phone number and address. I spelled Michael wrong. I put the E before the A. That's brutal. No wonder you need a tutor. My pops was ticked when the cops told him I tried to use a fake name. Why? He told me, son, the only thing I have for sure to give you in life is your name. I went and named you Malcolm for a reason, after Malcolm X, so don't throw it away and don't disgrace it. I didn't know you were named after X, said MJ, turning to look at Malcolm. Well, I am, said Malcolm. You know what you need if you can't handle all of that Jordan jazz? What's that? A middle name to break it up, said Malcolm, surfing channels with the sound still off. I've already got one. It's Jeffrey. Then that's what you should call yourself. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, said Malcolm before stretching himself out on his bed again and pressing the ice bag back to his lower lip. There's only one problem, said MJ behind a half smile. That's Michael Jordan's middle name, too. Like I told you, my father was his biggest fan. At the beginning of this chapter, we have MJ and we have Malcolm, and they seem to be playing okay on the court together. Then we have this flashback to where they're still arguing with one another when they're running those steps. They don't finish as a team because Malcolm runs ahead. And when they both get back to the room, they start talking about MJ's homework and how he is writing a reaction paper, which is like a 1 or 2 page paper that shows your reaction to something on street ball and how it's social. And he and Malcolm have an argument about how street ball looks different in different places, and MJ says, no, it's always the same, and Malcolm says, no, it's not. And so they have this whole argument about it, and then they get on the topic of names, and finally Malcolm's like, you should use your middle name, not just Michael Jordan, but Michael blank Jordan, whatever your middle name is. And so we have MJ reveal that his middle name is Jeffrey. Malcolm says, great, so from now on you could be Michael Jeffrey Jordan. There's just one problem with that. Jeffrey is also the famous Michael Jordan's middle name. Apparently MJ's dad really, really admired and loved the famous Michael Jordan, and so gave his son all three of those names as well. Live radio broadcast of the game, 7:49 p.m. There are 3 broadcasters, a play-by-play man, a color commentator, and sideline reporter Rachel Adams. So we're back in the present now for the Final Four game. Play-by-play man. A terrific attempt by Michigan State's Michael Jordan at trying to save that loose ball, diving into the Troy bench. Color commentator. It was just too far out of reach, but this young buck embodies the word hustle. Play-by-play man. As Jordan's teammates help him back onto the court, let's quickly reset the particulars here in double overtime. The Spartans hold a 5-point advantage with 2:18 remaining on the game clock. Trojans possession, just 7 seconds left on the shot clock. At stake, a trip to the national championship game against either Duke or North Carolina on this floor 2 nights from now. Color commentator. And now at the mouth of the tunnel leading back to the locker rooms, you can see 2 different shades of blue as the players from both Duke and Carolina gather in separate corners, waiting for this contest to end. Their game should have started nearly 20 minutes ago, but it's been pushed back by the 2 overtimes. Yes, they want to witness who wins this Trojan War, but I guarantee you they've been pacing their locker rooms like caged lions, waiting to get out here. I know. As a player, I've been in that situation before. Play-by-play man. The Trojans inbound the ball. Remember, they are without their floor general, Rocco Bakic, who went to the bench after a devastating screen set by Baby Bear Wilkins. The shot clock now a nemesis for Troy. It's down to 4 seconds. A Trojan shot from the corner. It's off the mark. Michigan State has the ball and a chance to really stretch their lead. Color commentator. Troy isn't the same team on offense or defense without the Red Bull. If the Spartans score here, a 7 or 8 point deficit might be too much for the short-handed Trojans to overcome. Play-by-play man. The Michigan State fans are on their feet here in the Superdome. They're really bringing the noise. McBride on the dribble. He slips past his man. A 14-footer from the left side. It's off the rim. No good. Crispin Rice rebounds for the Trojans. That quiets the fans in green. We're down to 1:37 on the clock. Color commentator. Big-time players are supposed to make that kind of open shot, especially under these circumstances, to put a game like this out of reach. I've got plenty of respect for the political statement Malcolm McBride made yesterday, but I wonder if the weight of his words, along with all that hype we heard from him about blowing Troy out of the building, has him thinking too much out there. So this is interesting because remember Malcolm keeps yelling at his teammates for missing shots, and now here he misses a shot that could have really solidified their win against Troy. Play-by-play man. So you agree with some of his economic comments about the state of college basketball? Color commentator. I do. Clearing his throat with a small cough. I just didn't think it was the proper forum to make him, taking the focus away from some of the players around him who worked their butts off to get here. But once it's out, you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. Play-by-play man. Troy advancing the basketball. They run the high pick-and-roll screen with Rice. He shoots. The ball rattles around the rim and falls home. The Trojans have cut the lead to 3 points, 78-75, with 1:12 to go. Let's get a quick update from our Rachel Adams, stationed courtside. Rachel Adams, speaking hurriedly. Rocco Bakic has been literally tugging at the coat sleeve of Alvin Kennedy on the Trojan bench, attempting to get himself back into the game. And he has been talking to his coach nonstop as Kennedy walks the sidelines. But the Troy coach has yet to budge, probably over concerns that Bakic could have a slight concussion. Play-by-play man. Michigan State running some time off the clock. The ball moves from Cousins inside to Jordan, outside. Now Jordan to McBride. Malcolm McBride takes his defender off the dribble. A running floater in the middle lane. Boyce had a hand in McBride's face. McBride nailed it. He nailed it with Boyce hanging all over him. It's back to a 5-point spread. 80-75. Spartans on top. Color commentator. Clutch shot by McBride. Sometimes it's easy to forget he's just a year removed from high school, still waiting to turn 19. Of course, we wouldn't be in these overtimes if he didn't send us here with that incredible shot at the end of regulation, but that seems like ancient history now. So it does appear as though the Trojans are struggling without Rocco there on the court. Malcolm does miss a key shot, but then comes back almost right away to make a key shot. And so now the Spartans are winning 80-75, which does seem like a lot at this point for the Trojans to overcome. Play-by-play man. Ancient history, yes. That was nearly 10 minutes of game clock ago. So much has happened since. Right now, 53 seconds remain and double overtime. The Trojan faithful in red are imploring their team to score. Coach Kennedy is spinning his hand in a circle on the sideline, asking his team to play faster. The Red Bull is on his feet, too, behind Kennedy, cheering his teammates on. Color commentator. It's just superior defense by the Spartans without the threat of the Bull to break them down. Play-by-play man. It's stifling the Trojan offense. Rice has to force up a shot. It's no good. Offensive rebound, Boyce. He puts it up and scores. The Trojans won't go away. They're within 3 points again at 80-77. So Boyce rebounds the ball and he makes a basket, and so now it's 80-77. So the Trojans are only 3 points behind the Spartans. Color commentator. Aaron Boyce has already defeated Hurricane Katrina here, so he should have no fear of the mighty Spartans. Play-by-play man. Just 38 seconds to play. The Spartans can run the 35-second shot clock completely down, leaving Troy only 3 seconds to spare. Troy can't stop the clock. Color commentator. That's right. The Trojans used their timeout when the Bull got shaken up, trying to keep him on the court. But if the Spartans score, it could be over. Play-by-play man. Coach Eddie Barker, who must have nearly no voice left at all, is pushing both palms down, telling his team to take it slow. Color commentator. The Spartans hold all the cards at this point. They just need to execute. Play-by-play man. McBride in a holding pattern with his dribble, the shot clock down to 12 seconds. Color commentator. Sometimes it's too stagnant with the ball just in the hands of McBride. Play-by-play man. 7 seconds to shoot. 10 on the game clock. Now McBride makes his move. Several Trojans converge on him. McBride finally forced to kick the ball to a wide-open Wilkins from the elbow of the foul line. It doesn't go! Boyce rebounds for the Trojans. He dribbles out of the pack. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. Boyce lets it fly from just past half court. Oh, it's good! It's good! Can you believe that? Aaron Boyce has just tied this game for Troy and sent us into a third overtime. Unbelievable! A portion of this Superdome is wild with exuberance. Another portion of it completely stunned. Color commentator. No matter what transpires in the remainder of this game, I think it's time for someone to say, instant classic. So this is a crazy end to the second overtime. The Spartans run down the clock as they should, and then Aaron Boyce gets the rebound. And so he only has, I believe it's 3 seconds to go, and he gets to half court, or just past half court, and he shoots the ball because he's out of time. And by some miracle, it goes into the basket to where now the teams are once again tied, and they're going to go into a triple overtime.